right now, if you hold
Mhm.
about 15 Bitcoin, you are a millionaire. Obviously, Bitcoin is gaining purchasing power. Fiat is losing purchasing power. So how much Bitcoin do you think the average person needs to accumulate to secure millionaire status in the future?
Well, I definitely think one, right? One Bitcoin is my answer, right? But you may not be able to get to the one Bitcoin immediately, right? But I definitely think you need to kind of have your eyes on getting to that whole coiner status. People ask me all the time, where do you think Bitcoin is going? I said, it's going to a million and then it's going to 10 million, right? That's kind of my view. But like, you know, it, $1 million is not what it used to be, right? But I fundamentally believe that in the next decade we're going to get to one Bitcoin equals $1 million, right? I think a lot of Bitcoiners believe that. So the question is, how do you get to one Bitcoin? Okay. Well, I think the first thing to do is rule number one: never sell your Bitcoin ever. Okay. So you just have to get in the mode of, okay, I made some money here. I did something. I did this job. I got some money. Take some money. Put some money off the side. Put it in Bitcoin. Okay. Oh, I rented out the spare room in my house for an Airbnb. I'm getting a little bit of money there. I'm stacking sats. Take it out. Put it in Bitcoin. Right. I think you got to look at this thing as your savings account over the next 3 to 5 years. And you should try to save as much as you can in Bitcoin. That's my view, right? And it doesn't matter how much you have, you should try to save it, right? So, what does that mean? Don't buy a house. That would be my first advice, right? Do not buy a house. Resist the temptation to buy a house. Do not say, oh, I'm going to buy a house and Airbnb it out. Resist that temptation. Say, you know what? Whatever your idea is, uh, let's just take that idea off the thing. We'll put it down, push it out 5 years. What you need to do is accumulate some Bitcoin now. That's what I think. Because I also think the next 5 years are going to be the best years to save for Bitcoin, right? So, you really have an opportunity in the next 5 years, regardless of your age, especially if you're young, right? You should absolutely resist the urge to spend your money, I would say. And I would also resist the urge to try to take really crazy risks to, you know, like, I was reading this story about some guy who took his wedding money and going to, he put it all on some meme coin because he wanted to take a honeymoon. He didn't have enough. Like, don't do that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, just take your money and put it in Bitcoin. Just get enough. Start focusing on how much Bitcoin you have, not what's the dollar value of that thing. Try to get to one Bitcoin, I would say is, and I think if you're at one Bitcoin, that's, you know what? That's a club. That is a club, right? That's a club with about 1 million people in it, right? Try to get into that club, you know. That's what I would say. And then make sure you hold on to your Bitcoin properly. Do cold storage, and I would even recommend doing even a multi-sig, just so you really understand that big. And then the one thing I would recommend doing is transacting a little tiny bit with Bitcoin, okay, now and then, just so you really understand how it works, right? So maybe it's just, maybe you go out and buy, you know, some coffee with Bitcoin, or, maybe you go find the restaurant in your town that accepts Bitcoin, just, you don't have to go crazy. Just do a little bit, go with the Lightning wallet, do something, just use your Bitcoin a little bit, right?
Mhm.
So you don't forget how to use it. Don't just put it away and forget about it. Because it's kind of like you got to learn to drive. You got to drive all the time, and you got to continue to drive. You got to take your wallet out, make sure you understand it. And so
Definitely.
that's what I would say. That's my advice to you. But I think the good news is you're actually in a really good spot, right? Everybody's like, well, I missed out on the housing boom. So what? You doesn't matter. You're in a better market. Bitcoin's so much better than housing, right? Housing was for my generation. Is like Like nothing. Like, so what? Like, yeah, your houses are expensive. So what? Then don't buy one. Do not buy a house. That's the answer to that, right?
Mhm.
Don't complain about it. Don't whine about it. Just don't buy a house. You know, if there really is too much expensive, move somewhere where it's cheaper. And buy Bitcoin. That would be my statement. Um, so
You're
so
saying one,
I'm pretty enthusiastic, I would say. Yeah,
and you're saying one Bitcoin, in your opinion, basically guarantees you millionaire status in the future, in your opinion.
I do. I think it's gonna. I think you'll get there. I think there's only a million people. Look how many millionaires there are, right? There's probably 100 million millionaires out there, right? But how many people can own one Bitcoin? Well, by definition, there only can be 21 million people owning one Bitcoin,
And actually a
right?
little less if Bitcoin's lost. Or I mean,
What?
or
Even
never mind.
less, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say and some of those people aren't selling, like Michael
Yeah.
Saylor, right? He's never selling. So there's less than 10 million people who can own one Bitcoin
Mhm.
ever. I would say probably less than five. There probably will, the peak number, it may never even get beyond 3 million. So do you want to be in the top 3 million out of a population of 8 billion? I would say, yeah, you do, right? You 100% do, right? So, the numbers are great, right? Like if you can get to 1 million, and there's only 5 million people let in the entire world, that's not that enormous. I don't know what the size of Columbus, Ohio is, but you know what I mean? We're not talking about, New York City, 3 million people.
Mhm.
So we're talking about Atlanta. Okay. That's how big your club is worldwide. So I think you're still in very good shape. And I think it's going to get harder and harder and harder. You come back 10 years from now, people will be like, how the hell did you ever get a Bitcoin? How did you do it? And we're like, well, I started buying when Bitcoin was only 70,000. Okay. How did you know what to buy when Bitcoin was 70,000? Well, I listened to Altcoin Daily and Fred, you know. So that's what I would say. It's like it's definitely generationally, it's a great time to buy Bitcoin. I think um I mean, I view it as just an absolute gift to all of us. And that's why I do this. I mean, part of me is just like I want to impart my love of Bitcoin to everybody else. And I say, yeah, it's probably a really good time for you guys to get involved. That's it. Do I get anything out of it? No, I don't, other than the fact that you guys will collectively help Bitcoin to go up. But I can't really do anything to make it go up. It's so big already, worth $1
Mhm.
trillion. I can't make it. Fred's going to have any impact on it. But I honestly do think it's a great investment for most people. And if you have enough and you want to go speculate on some other stuff, feel free to do so. That's I mean, I'm not like a religious, uh Spanish Inquisition style maxi. If you want to do whatever you want to do, you want to buy an NFT, go buy your NFT. I have a few NFTs. They're great, you know. Why not?
Hey, if you like this interview clip, make sure you check out the full interview. And for daily videos giving you an edge in crypto, subscribe to our channel, Altcoin Daily.